away. Well, thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate being here. And my topic tonight is insurance, not the sexiest topic of the night, I'm sure, but we'll jump right into it. So just a little bit about Hub as an organization and why we're here. So we are one of the largest insurance brokers in Canada, based out of southwestern Ontario. That's our roots, so small Canadian broker, but we've obviously grown and are now one of the largest in North America. We do a lot of work with groups and associations, and we put together insurance programs that really tailor to the needs of each individual group and association. In Canada, we have about 250 programs across the country, and we serve about 250,000 clients through those programs. The program that we're talking about tonight is specifically for the Canadian Federation of Musicians as well as the American, and we currently insure about 1,300 members through the program. So we really appreciate the partnership and hope that we can grow and find different ways to support you. We're always going to bat for the association. What better coverage can we get? What better rating can we get? So we're always really trying to advocate on behalf of your members. So I'm just going to go through some of the program highlights. And this program is really designed to set up coverage for musicians, whether they're individual or within a band. And a few of the key highlights is, so we provide all-risk worldwide coverage on your equipment, on your instruments. Most people, you may have it insured through your home policy, but if you read the fine print, it may not cover it worldwide. It could only be in North America, and there may be a limit on that if it's not specifically scheduled. So as soon as you start traveling with your instruments, it's really important that you put them on a rider or a floater so they're getting that fulsome coverage wherever they are, wherever you're traveling them with. A few frills around that. So we've got your equipment covered as part of the program. So if you need to, you lose them or they're stolen or there is a loss and they're gone and you have a gig coming up that night and you need to rent equipment, there is extensions of coverage to pay for that while you need them really quick and easily. We have a $100 deductible per occurrence on these instruments. So if you have 5 instruments insured and they're all in your car at the same time and they got stolen, that's one occurrence, so it's one deductible of $100. It's not per piece of equipment. On the liability side, so that really covers, if you cause any bodily injury or property damage to a patron that's at a venue. So if somebody trips and falls over one of your cables and sues you, that's what they would be covered for. Or if you drop a piece of an instrument or a piece of equipment on somebody and they get injured, there'd be coverage for that as well. And this is what you'll see if you're playing at venues. Often they want you to provide a certificate of insurance confirming that you've got this commercial general liability coverage in place. So that's you're able to purchase that through this program. We provide an extension for promotional material. Most policies exclude it because they consider that to be commercial promotional property. So this does bring that coverage back in if you have anything that you're taking around with you. Again, loss of earnings. So if the venue is damaged, let's say it's flooded and then you're not able to play, there is some loss of earnings coverage that is there, so you can get reimbursed because you're losing out on that revenue. And as well, if you lose or you damage or you have a loss to your equipment and you can't play a gig, like you can't show up because you have no equipment, there's loss of earnings up to $5,000 just to make up for that shortfall. And then if you're regularly renting, leasing, or borrowing equipment, the policy extends for 30 days up to $10,000 in coverage. So it's a pretty good frills that come along with that, and you'll see on the next that the pricing's pretty reasonable. Equipment rates are $2.20 per 100. So if you had a $10,000 piece of equipment, you'd be paying $220 annually for that. So it's a flat rate. It's pretty low. And just in terms of comparison, outside of the program, you usually see rates from companies, if you were doing this just one-off, in more around the $350 range. So it's a pretty great rate. They look at the volume of business we have and give us preferential rating based on that. And then on the liability, it's based on the individual. So, if you have one person in your band and you want $1 million in coverage, it's going to be $66 or $127 for 2. just charge up per member. So those are really reasonable rates for liability. Generally, in the marketplace, if you were just to go and try and get a policy, you'd be looking at a minimum premium of $500 just for the liability. So really, really good rating. Obviously, if you need higher limits, if a venue you're playing at requires $5 million, we can certainly look at that just outside of this rating.
How long a period that's set for?
For the liability? So it's a year policy. We issue it for an annual policy.
So say we bought it today, does that go till a year from now?
Yep.
Or just a calendar?
Yeah, it would go for a year, for the full year. Yeah. In terms of how to apply for it, so Christina Omar, actually, she's been working on the program for quite a few years. She's sunning herself in Portugal. She just told me she's on her 5th glass of wine. So I'm a little bit jealous of that. But it's a really easy process. Like, I got to tell you, I look at a lot of insurance applications, and this is pretty easy. It's just basically your contact information, name, address, the list of your equipment, the value, if you want liability, how many people are in your band, their names, and that's it. And we rate it out, and we can get that turned around for you in hours, depending on how busy things are. So it's a really simple application. If you have any equipment that's over $10,000 in value, they do require an appraisal on it, just for any of that kind of high-valued equipment. So really simple, easy process. It's easier than most insurance to get. I can vouch for that. But that's about it. So, I mean, it pretty much covers everybody who is a member. The only thing right now it does exclude is full electronic DJs, if that's the only thing that they're doing. If you're doing DJ work incidental to your work as a musician, that's fine, but it's the full-on kind of raves right now that they're not covering, although we are working with Intact, who is the company that provides the insurance, to see if we can create an offering for CFM members for that operation, because I think it's a great opportunity, and we want to be able to provide solutions for all your members, not just some of them. So we're working on that right now.
So if you're the only member of a band that's insured and a claim is brought against, would the claim be brought against all 3 members, and I would be lucky because I had insurance, or?
We issue our certificates. The way it's based, it would be in the individual's name. So if you have 3 people, Paul, John, and Sue, in your band, you're going to get 3 different certificates for Paul, John, and Sue. It's not issued in the name of the band, but into the individuals within the band.
What if 2 of the members don't get insurance?
Only one, then...
I play in several bands,
yeah.
so I'm just...
Yeah, and if you're a single band and you disclose, that you're the only person, then it would only be for you. So you'd be the lucky one that would get it. The other 2 would get sued.
All right, I have a question.
Great.
Is your insurance available to non-union members? And if so, what would be the rate difference?
Yeah. This program is not to be eligible for this rating, this coverage. You have to be a member. You have to be a member. It's not available otherwise. It's a group insurance, and you have to put in your number, like you have to give us your member number as well. So it's not available to anybody outside. And kind of going back to, I would say, if somebody tried to get it outside of this program, you're probably looking at least 3 or 4 times the rating. Like it's pretty sharp rating for what it is. So, but yeah, it's exclusive.